Halsey, am I hallucinating? Or does he keep talking about his defense?
The defense. That's what stuck out
He
to me.
opened with his defense. He's got guys that were selling Pokemon cards on his defense. He's got guys that were flying Cessnas a week ago. Did Miles Jack even play? He dressed? I don't care. He's got other guys who came off the couch. Defensive Joe Flacco's. Listen, I know the defense hasn't been perfect lately, but a couple weeks ago, he ripped them for not getting better turnovers. I know you save touchdowns, but we need turnovers over inside the other team's 20 if you don't mind. Then this week, he opens. He opens by criticizing his defense for not holding the other team to field goals on short fields. Sorry, we did that. But what about the offense that is averaging 16.2 points per game, below the Cardinals and Titans? An offense that's averaging like 11 points a game in the past 4 games, that hasn't scored 20 points in a game in a month, that hasn't scored 30 points all season. How many teams can say that? That's tied with the Jets for the fewest passing touchdowns in the NFL, that put the defense in that position last week through a turnover. And we're starting with the defense? That's where we start here? By criticizing the defense. You've got one of the most brutally inept offenses in the history of this franchise. And you start by ripping your defense. I'm just flabbergasted, to borrow one of Ben's words, when we thought he was going to retire here. What?
When he started off the press conference by saying we've got a lot of ills and then was going to expound on those ills, I thought for sure the first words to come out of his mouth were, we need to score more points. Something like that. And Instead, he went to his defense, as you just mentioned.
Yes. And then he goes to Mitch. I thought Mitch picked up his play as the game wore on. And it's a reasonable expectation he'll be even better. He used the word even. He stinks.
He was,
and he didn't get better. May I read you the second half drives, Folsey?
Sure.
He'll be even better next week. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. He's going to be even better than he was. He was horrible, and the whole country saw it. So his play picked up in a second half in which the Steelers had, here are their drives: 11 plays, 32 yards, punt. I don't even know how you can have 11 plays for 32 yards. 3 plays, 7 yards, punt. 4 plays, 9 yards, failed fourth down. 4 plays, 26 yards, a gift touchdown. 7 plays, 13 yards, punt. I don't even know how you can have 7 plays for 13 yards. 6 plays, 22 yards, downs. And then the last series, if you want to call it that, was 2 plays for 45 yards, end of game. I don't even count that. He got better as the game wore on. 11 plays, 32 yards, punt. 3 plays, 7 yards, punt. 4 plays, 9 yards, downs. 4 plays, 26 yards, gifts, touchdown. 7 plays, 13 yards, punt. 6 plays, 22 yards, downs. They sucked in the second half. And the whole country saw it. And he said he played better in the second half. What are we watching?
Is it because
what
they
is he
scored
watching?
15 points?
I mean, I realize, does he think everybody's just not watching the game? Folsey, how many drives all year has a team had 11 plays for 32 yards and a punt? Mitch Trubisky was firing fastballs over people's heads, over the backstop. He had a couple nice throws. So does everybody else. He stunk. And then their only score was off a gift.
Yes.
Was it the block punt or the I can't remember
punt.
Which. Yeah, because they didn't score off
on
the interception.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't get anything out of that.
This is just mind-boggling stuff. Oh, I bet he'll be even better next week. Really? Even better than he was this week? Wow.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt of starting with the defense to begin the press conference because he's a defensive guy, right?
I don't, but go ahead.
We all believe that he's really the guy who's calling the plays. He's the mastermind behind it. So maybe that's on the top of his list. He feels like his unit needs to play better. Okay, fine. But to go through the rest of the press conference and not once even come close to criticizing the offense and saying they're not good enough and they've got to play better. And to go through that press conference and to say, as you've mentioned, that Mitch Trubisky is going to play better from here, and it's reasonable to expect him to be better, and that Mason Rudolph, really, he's going to get some opportunities to get reps, certainly, because he's the number 2 quarterback now rather than the number 3. But in no way is this going to be anything close to a competition of sorts or that he's thinking about going to Mason Rudolph because of how well, I guess, Mitch Trubisky played this last week, because of how much better he's going to be this next week. What world are you living in, pal? We saw this. We saw this last year.
If he gets you fired up, like if you're throwing out a pal,
come on.
Then there's trouble. I mean, I've watched. It's part of my job to watch every football show imaginable. I love Good Morning Football. I watch all the get up, get down, get this, get that, PTI.
Good Morning Football.
There's not one person who thinks that Mitch Trubisky played well in that game.
How could you?
What's your definition then of playing better in the second half? I just read you the drive. I don't even know if the throw to Deontay for the touchdown was a good throw. The more I watched it.
Yeah.
But okay, he made a good throw to a guy one-on-one wide open for a touchdown. Whoop-de-damn-do, to quote the great Derek Coleman, who I just read a story on, Fulsey. Somebody told him that a teammate of his missed practice, and Coleman's response was whoop-de-damn-do. So Mitch threw to a wide-open receiver for a touchdown, and other than that, the offense was completely and utterly inept in the second half. Would you like to know, other than when the Patriots gave Deontay somehow that 24-yard play on the final desperate drive when they just gave it to him. We're not counting that, are we? They didn't even make the right play on the last play of the game, by the way. They have a guy who can kick a 60-plus yard field goal if you've been watching him. They should have tried a quick out or a Hail Mary down the field, something other than just ending the game. I think that was meant to be maybe a hook and lateral. I don't know. It was a disaster, but we're not counting that, are we, Fulsey?
No. We're
not counting that. So throw out the junk yards on that last series, and the Steelers in the second half. I want everybody to hear this because we have to deal, in order to register some sort of coherent opinion, we have to start in the world of reality, don't we? I mean, in the second half, other than the junk yards, the Steelers ran 35 plays for 108 yards. And the head coach just said that the quarterback got better as the game went on. 35 plays for 108 yards. Think about that for a second. Connor Hayward attempted a sprint pass on 1st and goal from the 1. This offense is a league-wide laughingstock. And we're worried about a defense that gave up 21 points? You should be winning with 75% of the games. I don't care about it. People want to make the Patriots defense into the 85 Bears. Come on. They gave up 34 points to the Saints this year. I don't care what they did against the Giants. I really don't. Or the Gardner Minshews. Okay? When they play real teams, they gave up 31 to Tua, 34 to New Orleans, 38 to Dallas. So let's stop with this. Well, it was the Patriots. What do you expect? They're 2-10. 35 plays for 108 yards, and the quarterback played better? So we're not even starting in reality here? How about this? Listen, guys, this isn't getting better on offense. You see it, I see it, okay? We fired the coordinator. It's actually gotten worse point-wise. We stink on offense, all right? Yeah, I'd like more from our defense. I would.
Right.
Don't give up a 99-yard drive. Don't give up 3 touchdowns to Bailey effing Zappi. I get it. But at some point, a defense breaks when an offense is this historically inept. They're on the field the whole game. They never score. Our quarterbacking has been JV or maybe freshman, maybe middle school, maybe peewee. We have 9 touchdown passes the whole year. I'm not even going to talk about my defense. Okay, we gave up 21 this week. How many the week before, Folsey? 24?
24.
Week before that, 10. You know, these are games we should be winning. Okay, we have a broken defense. I've got a guy who sold Pokemon cards playing the whole game. Sorry, that sounds like an excuse. But we're still playing well enough defensively to win in the National Football League. And I have an offense that everybody in the world just sits back and laughs at.
And again, this would be easier to swallow all of his comments if he, at one point, criticized the offense this entire season. Has he done that at all?
JV.
In these press conferences?
No. And he should have said, when someone said, what'd you think of Trubisky? JV. And I know you're not going to say that. You're not going to rip a guy. But how about not good enough? Just not good enough. Yeah. Come on. Come on, Folsey.
And he continues to, at the very end, did you catch his little comments there? I think it was the second to last question.
Yeah.
About the beginnings of games.
Yeah.
Continues to just throw that away as if the first 30 minutes of a game don't matter very much. Yes,
right. But except when they score early in the game, and then it's like, it was great to get off to a great start.
Yeah,
that helps a lot. Inject him with truth serum when they ask him about Trubisky. Come on, Mike Tomlin's he won a Super Bowl as a defensive backs coach. He's been a defensive guy his whole life. He studies quarterbacks. He knows what a bad one looks like. You know, if he had said what he was really on his mind, Mitch Trubisky, are you kidding me?
And then he talks about needing to hold them to a field goal because that's the difference in the game.
He couldn't find.
Defense.
You're right. He couldn't find the strike zone. He was high. He was low. He was left. He was right. He plays with zero confidence. He doesn't even slide confidently. He has a look on his face during the games that he's going to be imprisoned if he makes one mistake. That's what I think of Mitch Trubisky. And instead we get, I thought he got better as the game went on. He's going to be even better.
It's reasonable to expect he's going to be even better.
Even better. So he'll go from frightfully hideous to just bad.
He did everything he could not to criticize him one bit.